World Fencing Championships 2012 Men's Team Epée gold medal match. And coming out first is World Championship hosts in Budapest, as we now watch the team that the USA will face, France. France line up with Yannick Borrell, Gauthier Grumier, Jean-Michel Lucenay and Ulrich Robieri. For the closing stages of that last match, the bronze medal match. So this is the gold medal match. The winner will take the championship title. There will be world. First on the piste for the USA will be Weston Kelsey, and for France, Jean-Michel Lucenay. At the early stages of this match, we'll let the viewers at home watch the action for themselves. But tell us what you do for the FIE, Peter.
Well, I'm a member of the executive committee and have been for quite some time, but I'm what's called the secretary treasurer, which means in layman's terms I'm the honorary treasurer. I look after the finances. I have to present the report on the expenditure at the annual Congress, and indeed present a budget for the following financial year at the same time, and have the responsibility to take care of the affluence, well, not the affluence, but to take care to ensure that the FIE stays in the black.
And in recent times, a great deal of investment has been made in the sport, and we've seen it spread around the world. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we've been able, with the present president, to have some donations, which he's arranged for us, which have given us more funds, and a considerable proportion of that money, or basically all of it, has been dedicated to a plan on to support fencing and expand fencing in the continents, what we call the confederations, and indeed in the individual national federations, to increase the number of fencing countries, to provide them with equipment and to provide them with help train their coaches, and indeed to encourage them to come to world championships, both senior and junior.
Well, it's working, because we've seen a huge development in Chinese fencing, Korean fencing, African nations are now starting to play a hand in some of these competitions in the latter stages. America, of course, have come on leaps and bounds over the last 10 years. And the gentleman that you referred to, our president, is Alisher Usmanov, no less. And obviously all his hard work is paying dividends, and I believe he was a fencer himself.
Yes, he was a sabre fencer in the Soviet period, as a junior, I think, and then particularly, but frankly I'm not very sure of his fencing credentials, but he certainly knows his fencing.
Yeah, indeed. So we're at the early stages here, and France have got a narrow lead, 2-1. We watched a very cagey match here in the bronze medal match in the early stages, which just broke away at the end as the Hungarians had a bit of a lead. And here we're seeing a similar thing at the start. Both fencers keen to feel each other out and not take any risks at this early stage in the gold medal match here at the World Fencing Championships. Last match of the championships, and it's been a great tournament. I mean, 2 days. And the setup is, well, I haven't seen anything better than this around the world, Peter.
No, the setup is excellent. They've put it all together very well, and it's well suited to this competition. Not too large, good audiences in the finals, which isn't always the case. Very good support. Last night, of course, with Ukraine in the final, but today as well. Really, there's a lot of people up there in the stands. Well, as you say, they're feeling each other out, and I mean this is, I think, the nature of épée, because épée is the advantage is it can be very much with the defender. You have to trap your opponent into giving you the opportunity. You can't just launch yourself at him. and therefore there is always an initial, as you say, feeling out period, unless there is some other urgency to provoke you into having to do something precipitously.
Well, Epée is certainly the most patient of the weapons, and the athletes must display a huge amount of discipline as we go into the second of 9 in this relay, up to 45, a potential 45 hits. Benjamin Bratton of the USA is on your left, and on the right is, well, the very famous Yannick Borel, for those in the fencing know. And a taller man, Borel, and immediately smacks his opponent's blade out of the way, giving him the opening to go forward and get a single light. So it's now France 3, USA 1. Epée, you could throw the rule book out the window. No conventions that we talked about in sabre yesterday. Here the referee is there to make sure there are no infringements, but essentially this is the purest form of the sport. It's a duel. First one to hit, and don't get hit. It's the only weapon where both fencers can score a hit at the same time, and that's called a double. And this time, as Borel comes in, his blade is picked up by Bratton and closed out, I believe, in the line of Octave, and they go 2-4 now, USA trailing France. So it's the first one to hit. It's a point weapon. You have to hit with the tip of your sword. You have to touch your opponent's target with the tip of your sword with just over 750 grams worth of force in order to push the plunger in, which will set your light off. The target in Epée is everything from the top of the head to the tips of your toes, the whole body. And there is a double as we go to 5-3. Peter, this one's livened up already.
Yes. Well, I didn't feel the Americans are, you might say, awkward defence, somewhat unconventional quite a lot of the time. Very good defensive fencers, and the Hungarians clearly had great difficulty trying to work out how to break through. The French are making a better fist of it at the moment, and really going for the hits.
Yep, and well, the USA are ranked 4th. They've had a bit of a cracking season, and but they're up against the world #1 team in France. And whilst they've had some disappointments, they are still ranked right up there. And they'll be disappointed then that they're not. There isn't a team event at the Olympic Games, and this time Borel gets a single light. Where do you see the future of fencing? I mean, now that we're well, TV's become quite interested in what's happening in this sport. Obviously, the FI are investing money in providing the stream on YouTube and interacting with social media and being able to discuss and talk to its fans and its members in that way. And a younger generation, perhaps, of fencers coming through, you know, they don't live without Facebook, so why not get involved? How do you see the future of the development of the sport?
From the media point of view, you mean?
I mean across the board. I mean, yes, the media. What I'm trying to say is the FI are obviously interested in doing the social media side of things. They're obviously interested in developing the sport in places around the world where there isn't fencing. In general, what do you see of the future of fencing?
Well, I hope I see the future of fencing as expanding more vigorously, yet outside Europe, into all areas of the world. It's taken quite some time, but as you said earlier, the Far East is now very strong. Japan, China, Korea are very strong, and also there have been very strong fencers, particularly most recently in North Africa, as well as the Americas, where there have been some surprising long-standing fencing strengths, such as Cuba, going right back to the very beginning of the modern Olympic period in fencing, which would surprise some people. But this has to be what we are achieving, in fact, but we must go on bringing up the African countries all across Africa, many of whom have only been fencing for a very limited number of years, but making progress. But fencing is a long-term development sport. It's so highly technical. Forming a top fencer is not a 4-year job, as it may be in some sports, although obviously every sport thinks they're different. But it really is an 8 to 12-year job, developing a world-class international fencer.
Well, yeah.
But yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say, I mean, absolutely, you hit the nail on the head with the fact that it's a late developing sport, and one needs to find talent very young as well in order to give the coaches an opportunity to teach the foundations of the sport at a young age, so that, for example, the basis of the footwork is absolutely solid before they become young adults. And yeah, it's great to see the FIE investing in that long-term development in new countries around the world. Well, Peter, look, I know I'm keeping you from watching this amazing bout where we're seeing France lead out 9-6 against the USA with just over 10 seconds left in this second bout. Thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate your time.
A great pleasure.
So that was Peter Jacobs of the FIE coming into the commentary box, and we wish him luck and hope he enjoys the rest of this final. And so Peter Jacobs steps away from the commentary booth, and I'm pleased to say that we've got the man behind this YouTube streaming project, as he keeps referring to it. I think it's more than a project now. Stefan Motaz from the FIE headquarters in Lausanne. Stefan, first off, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Okay, I'm working at the FIE now for 2 years, and we're developing marketing and other stuff like the live streaming and different communication tool to try to increase the awareness of this beautiful sport around the world.
So your experience is outside of fencing?
Yes, I worked in cycling. I worked in freeride world tour for skiing, surfing, and many other stuff like this. And we had also a couple of experience with outdoor games, different sport as well, but very, very interesting experience.
Well, it seems that your eyes from outside of the world of fencing have changed the way that we're going to present the sport. I mean, even 2 years ago, we wouldn't even dreamt of live streaming, and now it's happening fairly regularly, but also with the other areas of interaction with the audience. I mean, obviously here on YouTube, we've got people making comments every few seconds, which is fantastic. We can interact and answer questions, explain what's going on, perhaps take a little bit of criticism every now and again, particularly on my pronunciation of certain names. But tell us more about what you're doing with the interaction of social media and fencing.
Yeah, basically, we're not gonna build a community, but we just want to get the fencing community online. So based on that, we simply develop the different tools. So we now get a decent Facebook page, and we are a nice number of friends and like on Facebook. We have also an increasing number of subscribers on the FIE channel on YouTube. We are also developing the Twitter.
Yes, Twitter, and also Escrime being now available electronically is fantastic for those people that have got involved in social interaction with smartphones, tablets, all this kind of technology that's come into the world.
Yes, I have to add to this comment that now we have the digital magazine available on the website fi.org, and there is the application related to this magazine as well. So it's available now on iPad, iPhone, etc. And we are already developing an application for fencing in general. It's coming soon.
Well, more exclusives. Stefan, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to go back to the action in this World Championship final of the men's team épée between France and the USA. France leading 10-6 as we go into the third. And we have Ulrich Robieri and Cody Mattern. Thanks, Stefan.
Thanks, Karim.
So Stefan Mottaz there from the FIE, telling us exactly what's going on. And well, we watch this match-up now, and it's 11-6 to France. And coming back to the fencing, we've got Serge Timoshev back in the box until the seventh bout, where he'll disappear off and go and take some photographs. Serge, this American team is doing pretty well this year, and obviously in the final here of the World Championships, the last match, the gold medal match, they're a little bit behind.
Well, and France is their nemesis. You know, I think this is the 6th time to meet up with France in a final in the last couple of years, and it's since the remarkable match we saw in Paris 2010, the World Championships, and they've managed to make it to this point that many times, but have lost as many with them. So the French are definitely very difficult with. The spout is certainly a very energetic one. Cody Mattern, an extremely athletic guy, fences for the U.S. Army. That's his sponsor, and he's on their elite athlete program. And certainly we're seeing a very active match here against Roberi.
Yeah, and they go on the back foot, and they walk away from each other. A tactical use of non-combativity, and Roberi on the back foot managed to score a hit on the back line to take it to 13-6. And on will come Benjamin Bratton of the USA against Jean-Michel Lucenay.
Mm-hmm. I spoke with Sebastian Dos Santos right before the bronze match, and he, of course, is the men's épée coach for the United States, and he's French, and so that's a bit of irony here that you've got a French coach for the U.S.
Yep.
He said that their goal for today, their biggest challenge here, is to just take it 1 point at a time. And of course, that's something that you hear a lot in fencing if you're a fencer, that you want to avoid, getting caught up in being concerned with the entire match, when all you have to really worry about is making the next touch.
Yeah, absolutely. So back to the action. France 13-6 up against the USA, and a good insight there from Serge about this American team. But
Ben Bratton, he's the slenderest, smallest one of the group. Epée fencers are traditionally big guys, and
bulky chaps.
Yeah, he's the quick, fast one. In football, in American football, he would be what we call a wide receiver, where he's constantly running and really quick, as opposed to Cody and Soren and Seth, who are all three very tall and use that height to their advantage. Of course, the French, not exactly short either. I was in the elevator this morning with Borrell and Grumier, and I'm not short, but boy, those guys are tall, and they definitely define the essence of what we think of when we think of épée fencers as being very, very tall guys. And of course, the French started off the day a little rougher than they expected, fencing Kyrgyzstan, where I think they sort of thought it would be a pretty easy go of it, and came back, went out of the hall for a little bit, came back in, and it was 35 all against them. That was their first match today.
Yep.
That woke them up, I think.
Yeah, it did wake them up, but they had Russia next, and that was they're no easy task, Russia, but they effectively took them apart 45-36 in the round of 8, and then Italy, of course, was a very close one.
Russia didn't have the best day.
No, they haven't had the best day at all. And they'll be going back, scratching their heads and thinking about what's going on. Now, we had Peter Jacobs up here. Another point there for the USA.
Yep.
And that's
Benji. He's very scrappy.
yeah. He's
These two guys are well matched. Lucenay and Bratton, they're not that different in height and stature and build, and that's why this is interesting. It's definitely well balanced.
yeah, it certainly is. And we were talking about the history of the French épée, men's épée team, and so far they have won 8 consecutive World Championships or Olympic Games at men's épée, and this will be a record-breaking 9th. And that Peter Jacobs came and just came and told me that. So if anyone wants to come back with anything different, then I'll let Peter know. But he went off and did a little bit of research and came back and told me that is a fact. Serge, you look puzzled.
No, I was just trying to remember Beijing. I was trying to remember. I remember them being upset in Beijing, but that was for a different reason. It was for that they didn't award a 4th medal to their alternate.
Yes, of course.
And of course, that time it was the Jerome Fabrice and Jerome Genet, who are, to me, I think, they had the most beautiful fencing style of any fencers I've ever seen. It was like watching, antelopes crossing the Svelte when watching them out on the strip.
What a description. Antelopes crossing the Svelte.
Well, they're so tall, and they were just very, very. Their footwork was perfect.
Well, you were bang on that they won in Beijing. They beat Poland. And that's a cracking result there. So, 16 plays 12. We've asked you to interact with us on the YouTube channel. Please do keep it clean, if you could. We have people of all ages tuning into this, so we would rather not have expletives. But questions coming through. French coach from the USA, Serge, and USA has lost every final against France. Is this a coincidence?
I don't think he would still be working with them if that were something that was ascertainable at least.
There's a nice hit over the top there from Bratton. I think he's having a cracking bout, Bratton here. He's scoring some points.
I think Sebastian dos Santos he's one of the nicest, most down-to-earth people in general, but of coaches in the world. An amazing guy, and I've actually had him referee a bout that I was in a final, and I think his integrity is beyond reproach. Well, it's my opinion, but
yeah. Well, I mean, the evidence is there in front of you. That hit from Bratton was superb. He blocked out the attack from Lucenay and just came back around the inside in very, very fast, and that's gone to time. And the gap is now narrowed, 14-7.
And we're going to see Roberi and Kelsey. Now, Seth Kelsey, he used to fence for the Air Force in the same way that Cody fences for the Army. He's not in the Air Force currently, but he still is training in that area. They both live and train in Colorado Springs in Colorado, which is where the Air Force Academy is, and it's all U.S. Air Force Academy, and it's also where the U.S. Olympic Committee is headquartered, and so they practice there on those Olympic facilities there.
Colorado Springs.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful neck of the woods.
Yep, high. They live up at 7,000 feet. What's that, about 2,500 meters maybe?
Yeah.
So pretty high up. Kelsey has one of the weirdest, oddest styles on the strip of anyone you'll ever see. And if you're not ready for it and you don't know it and you don't understand it, he'll destroy you. Because it's this sort of staccato up and down dancing. It almost looks like what a boxer would do.
Yeah.
Definitely not what we see in classical fencing.
Well, if you look at the just the two stances we've got in front of us here, Robieri sitting in a more classical, low down on guard position, and
Right.
and of course, Kelsey is well. I'm not going to say he's virtually standing up, but he's a tall man, and
Yes, he is.
he's not bending his knees too much, and he still beautiful change of direction from that position.
Well, and most people are deceived by him who haven't fenced him before. They think he's going to be easier than he obviously is not. At one point, for a short while, he was number one in the world, actually, about I think 2 or 3 years ago. So I mean, the proof is in the proverbial pudding, I suppose.
Absolutely.
It was a nice little touch there by Roberi to take it to 18-14. Kelsey, I had the opportunity to fence him in a direct elimination one time in Portland at his home club there in at the Northwest Fencing Center in Portland, Oregon. And I actually didn't do badly with him. I think he beat me 15-11. And I surprised myself, and I think I surprised him too.
You still fencing?
I still fence, yeah. I'm actually fencing in the Chinese National Amateur Championships in about 3 weeks. We have a sister club there in Shanghai, and I'm going to be over there for a World Cup, and I'm going to get to fence a team and I think a veteran match. So that'll be fun.
Well, here in the 5th match of 9, we have a score of 19-14 to France against the USA. This is for the World Championship gold medal title. And, well, the USA is still in this, but in close quarters, Robieri was so sharp there, and he now takes the score to 20-14. Target score here potentially of 25. USA still fighting hard.
Yep. And these guys have met before, so they're not. Neither one of them is a surprise to the other one. But one thing about Seth you'll notice is he doesn't use a tremendous amount of the strip. You know, you don't see him, in deep fleshes, or he doesn't let himself get backed up too much. He's more of a center of the piece kind of fencer.
Yeah, just dancing around his own on guard line there. Yeah. And he's an interesting épée to watch, I have to say. I haven't seen too much épée in my time being a foilist, but obviously with this commentary position that I've adopted, I've seen a lot more recently, and he's certainly very interesting to watch.
Yeah, he's a very heady guy too. He's very bright and reads a lot. And whereas Cody is much more of a sort of a playful type. You know, he would be the one at his club always doing the dance revolution with the kids and teaching classes with little kids, and very, very youthful, playful guy. Soren Thompson, on the other hand, who's their alternate, but who is number one in the he's actually the number one in the U.S. right now, and is the one who has made the Olympic team, and I'm guessing they might rotate him in shortly. He did well in Athens, where he went. He beat the Italian, whose name escapes me at the moment, and went on. So he came out, I think, 8th in Athens. Then didn't fence for a while, at least, and was coaching Seth in Beijing at the Olympic Games, and then came back after that. He graduated from Princeton and has had a very sort of Ivy League upbringing. Both Seth and, well, actually all three of them, I think. Seth, not Cody, but Seth, Soren, and Benjamin Bratton all fence for the New York Athletic Club, which has been a real institution in American fencing, has been around for more than a century and so on.
And do they host a competition there as well?
Yeah, we had a World Cup there last year, and I think also the year before. They used to do the Martini Cup there, which was, of course, a very famous event. And of course, that club is a very, proper. As far as any American club is, it's certainly the closest to a British club as you're going to find in the United States. Cody there with a very deep flesh. Cody's very tall. Uses his distance and his height to a great degree. And Borel, of course, is a monster. He's just, he's one of these guys that he's well proportioned. But if you stand next to him, you think, what on earth did his parents feed him growing up? I mean, he's that was a nice Perry repost there.
So a little recap here. We're in the 6th bout of 9, and we know that Serge will be departing to go and do job number 1. This is job number 2 it has become today, which is very kind of him to come up and assist me up in the commentary box. It's much better for you guys to have 2 of us up here talking about what's going on rather than just me rabbiting on. But we're in the 6th, and USA are trailing 19-24 to France in the gold medal match at the World Fencing Championships 2012 in the men's team épée. And, well, after 3 fights, the French were 13-6 up, and then on came Bratton for the USA, and he scored 8 touches to a reply of 4 from Lucenay and narrowed that gap down to 14-17. And
that last touch looks like it might be annulled because Burrell just had his weapon checked and it failed. Which, of course, if you have a hit in fencing and you think that one person's weapon went off but yours didn't, you can ask for the weapon to be checked. And if the referee determines that it has failed, then the other person's touch is annulled. Which is, I think, perhaps what happened.
Yeah, must have done.
Although I don't see this. I'm sorry? It didn't fail to the test. It only failed according to what he thought. Now, the last thing you want to do as a fencer, if you think your weapon failed, is to try and test it yourself. Because if you do that, and then the referee checks it and says it has failed, they actually can't give you that annulment because it's quite possible that on that last, when you checked it, you made it fail.
Well, yes, exactly. And we are now at 1:55 on the clock in this 6th bout. 3 more to go. Be interesting to see if Thompson does come on for the US and a substitute there. And, of course, Gautier-Grumier is the reserve in this one for the French team, so it'll be interesting to see if he comes on.
Well, when you trade someone in, you have to let them know 2 bouts in advance. So, but I will tell you that Soren is standing over there in his whites with his weapon in his hand. So I'm guessing we're going to see Soren out there, which may change the dynamics of this match.
Yeah, and on the other hand, we've got Grumier sitting down with his tracksuit on in the French box, and I bumped into Gautier-Grumier in between this match and the last one. I had a little chat with him, and they were very happy with their victory, but he looked very focused for this. So I'm a little surprised he's not on, but of course it's not up to him, it's up to the team manager.
Right.
Oh, and an attempted high riposte there in a line called Prime fails, and Mattern
closes the gap a little bit.
It's down to 3 again.
Yep, it's close. Yep. If we do see Soren out here soon, He's much more of a classical style fencer. He fences in much more of a French style than some of these guys.
Oh, Matten looked like he was going to fall over backwards then, and somehow recovered his equilibrium, his balance, and struck on a duck. The ducking hit there, and now it's down to 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cody is, it's very interesting. In the United States, at the national championships, I can't tell you how many times it's been Cody against Seth in the finals every time. It's amazing with the sheer number of good fencers there are in the United States, how those two rise to the top so consistently, especially in an inconsistent game like Epée, where the old adage is anyone can win on any day.
Well, that's what they say. But their combination of obviously great technique, good movement, unusual, not classical. Oh, and there is another one, and look at how happy this American is. He's closed the gap to just 1 point now, and they were never out of this, but the French were sneaking away, and first Bratton's come on and scored a bag of points in the 4th match, and here in the 6th, his teammate Cody Matten's come out and he scored a bag of points himself.
And I think this is where I'm going to bid my adieu. So
well, Serge Temeshev, thank you very much for coming up here. We'll say goodbye to Serge, and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for being here. It's been really a blast being on the air with you, on the virtual air.
There you go. Serge Temeshev of the FIE, he's the official photographer. He goes off, and as he goes off to take some photographs of his American team in battle for the gold medal in these World Championships here in Kiev, Ukraine, in the Palace of Sport, Cody Matten takes them level, and it's 24-24. They back away from each other, and what a turn for this American team and Cody Matten. He has just come out and done a number on Yannick Borrell. Borrell only scored 2 hits in that entire bout to 8 from Matten. And up steps, well, I believe that's the substitution made. And as Serge predicted, we're going to see Soren Thompson come on for the US. He is the sub for this match. Scores tied up, 7th bout, 3 more to go. And Roberi is on for his 3rd and final bout in this relay of 9 bouts. And this is really hotted up. This is a real thriller again. We had an amazing final last night in the women's sabre, where Russia beat the home favourites and hosts of this tournament, Ukraine, 45-44, and we're at it again. Well, you guys are getting involved in the conversation on the YouTube stream. I just looked at that, and something very amusing. Thanks for watching us. We hope you're enjoying this continued live streaming that the FIE are providing. And with the pictures that you're getting from TV, yes, we could have some lights on the screen. We'll talk to them about that. We are seeing another great match. And this one, well, they've traded the first 2 hits. They've got 1 apiece. It's 25-25. And the referee asking Thompson to come on guard on the on-guard line. But it looks like he's a little crack to the head. Well, our little secret spy up here not only Secretary Treasurer of the FIE, but also the man that goes down to the floor and gets us some information, has spotted that the French have made the substitution and Grumier will be coming on. And we see him stand up and he's warming up in the background there. And the attack fails from Ribéry, and Thompson is unable to block out. And Ribéry comes back with a ducking continuation, so they sneak into the lead again. 26 plays 25. Well, 26-26. This American team are not going to let this one escape them. They are very keen to stay in touch, and they are very much in this at 26-26. Thompson ranked 8th in the world. Ribéry ranked 30th. So on paper, Thompson is the better fencer, but we don't fence on paper, we fence on a fencing piece, and that is a beautiful hit from the Frenchman, waiting for Thompson to attempt to smash his blade out of the way and then just going downstairs and using some body evasion to make sure that Thompson's unable to hit him. Oh, and this time, as Ribéry looks to flick over the top of the guard of the American, Thompson plonks one on his hand. Attack comes in, Thompson blocks it, and somehow Ribéry was able to score a touch before he went past, and he's awarded a double hit.
He turned around and he didn't hit you, so it's good.
And Thompson questioning it, but the referee goes over, explains why he's given the hit, saying that he turned around as he went past and scored before he went past. So the double stands. The hit stands for Ribéry, and the referee very keen to make sure that Thompson's foot is on the on-guard line rather than 2 centimetres behind it. All, 7th bout. Closing now. And, well, Ribéry went in for a hit with just 3 seconds left on the clock. I'm not quite sure what he was thinking there, because Thompson was obviously waiting for that and just blocked it out, and they let time run out. So we've got to the end of the 7th bout. There are just 2 more bouts left in this 9-bout relay. And Cody Matten comes on, and he will be fencing Jean-Michel Lucenay. Cody Matten up against Lucenay now. Wow. This is really, really livened up, really exciting again from these Epées. We've seen a few matches today that we've seen non-combativity called. We are not seeing that here. And Matten, well, he had a great stint in his last match, scoring 8 points and bringing the Americans right back into this. Lucenay has been solid. And this will be his last match. So we have to assume that Gautier will come on for the last match and anchor the American team, subbing in for Yannick Burrell. Matten only ranked 36 in the world. Lucenay 22nd. That's, of course, in the individual discipline, men's épée. Oh, and they waited patiently, both fencers there. A minute and 9 seconds ticked away in that first period of the 8th bout. And, well, once Cody Matten felt Lucenay had got closer to him, he just launched an attack at him, flashed directly into his chest and got a single touch. Now, 2 points in the lead. USA are in control. It's still too early to call it, but I'm sure the French would rather be 2 hits up than 2 hits down. And this time, it's Lucenay that was playing the waiting game, waited for Matten to launch another attack, and this time comes over the top and parries round into Octave and hits his opponent downstairs.
Engagation. Engagement.
31-29, USA lead. And a lovely piece of reaction, close quarters there. Oh, and again, he's just waiting patiently now, Matten, to allow Lucenay to close the distance. And with that, when he sees that moment, he launches an attack with full confidence. He's fully committed to it. And he's now put the Americans 3 hits ahead in this penultimate bout, 32-29. And Lucenay is, well, he's got to play a very careful game here with just over 40 seconds to go. He needs to be very careful about what he does. Can't afford to give away any more hits, otherwise his anchorman is going to have a heck of a job to do. Being even just 3 hits in the lead in Epée is can be a mountain to climb for the attacking fencer who has to go for it, and they back away from each other with 10 seconds, 7 seconds ticking away on the clock. And, well, it's 32-29, and again, the Americans have outscored the French team, and that's the third, the third fight in a row they've outscored them. And we go into the 9th and final bout. Weston Kelsey anchoring the USA team. And Kelsey, well, he's ranked 23rd in the world at individual level. He comes on against the anchorman for France. It shows on our screens that it's Yannick Barrel, but of course it is not. It's the world number 7, Gauthier Grumier. And Grumier, well, was it a mistake not to put him on? I mean, I don't know the history between these two teams, and perhaps Grumier's experienced some difficulties with these Americans, but he's certainly going to be anchoring the American team, the French team home, and he's got a job to do. 32 plays 29 here in the Palace of Sport in Kiev, Ukraine, World Fencing Championships. This is the last action of the 2012 games, and we've got a heck of a match on our hands here with the USA and the men's team Epée leading 32-29. True flip mode. I'm Karen Bashir, and it's been a great pleasure. Thank you very much for your nice comments. Oh, and then there's the first hit for Grumier. Grumier's closed the gap, 32-30. It's been a great pleasure to call these fights, and streaming's been brilliant. I certainly hope the FI continue to do so. All the indications are that they will. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, though. We're now up to 4,008. So the last 2 minutes of action potentially now at these 2012 World Fencing Championships. Men's team Epée, USA, anchored by Weston Kelsey on the left, and on the right we've got Gauthier Grumier of France, who's slowly but surely, patiently trying to close the gap and then take the lead for France, but the USA are 32-30 up at the moment. As we tick down to 1:30 on the clock. Kelsey waiting, being patient. Grumier looking for the moment, and Kelsey bravely goes for an attack, gets a double, and that will be absolutely fine for the Americans. 33-31 now. And the Frenchman has got time, but it's going to tick away, and he's going to get to a point where he's going to have to chase. And that's never a good idea in this sport. But there it is. Launches in with a lunge and attack of his own. And, well, it's now down to 1 point. What a final we are seeing. What a final. America 33. The United States of America 33. France 32. 1 minute left. .50 seconds left now. Oh, and as Grumier goes downstairs, Kelsey goes upstairs, comes over the top, and opens the gap back up to 2 hits, 34-32 USA. That was a lovely hit over the top, moving his feet and using a great degree of discipline to avoid the Frenchman's attack. Well, he's getting to the distance, Grumier, and not doing anything, and so Kelsey launches his own attack, and now it's 35-32, 30 seconds left on the clock. This is it. Make or break. Grumier waiting again. He cannot afford to do this. The American is going for it, and he needs to get in there. It's now 36-32 to United States of America, and there's just 22 seconds on the clock. And again, Kelsey is scoring at will. What is going on with Grumier? He needs to go and get him. .15 seconds on the clock. A double scored. That's no good to the French. And the coach is shouting at Grumier, get on with it, go and do something. And this time he comes in, and this is the danger in épée. If you go down, or you go into that last match and your hit's down, you've got to go and chase it. So tactically important to be ahead going into the last match. Another double, and this is all but over. It's now 40-34 with the USA beating France here. And this time it's blocked out. 10 seconds left on the clock. And I fear the Americans have got an unassailable lead here. 41-34. And again, Grumier goes running in. Kelsey stands his ground and just avoids the blade and goes straight to the target. This time a ducking attack from Grumier. 42 plays 35. 7 seconds left. 7 hits the gap. A double. No good for Grumier. And the French are standing up. Oh, they're walking up as though this is over, in fact. There's a single light there, and it's 37-43. They've resigned themselves to his French teammates to this defeat. And the silver medal will be France's. Well, 4 seconds left on the clock. 43-37. Grumier still going for it. And gets a single touch again. 44 plays 37, and Kelsey is celebrating because he knows now with 2 seconds left on the clock, the USA are going to be world champions. And that's it. The United States of America win the 2012 World Championships here in Ukraine in the men's team épée, and what a thrilling finish there. The Americans just started running away with it. Great stuff there. The French accepted defeat with about 10 seconds left to go as Kelsey was just running out there.